Hello, this is Group Signatron. We're making this robotic hand to translate speech into sign language. So I'm Allison.
I'm Yenni.
I'm Elliott.
I'm Sakib.
Our invention solves the issue when you don't have someone always there to translate speech into ASL.
A mechanical hand which can translate speech into sign language as it's being said. And we're going to use a Raspberry Pi as our microcontroller to be able to control each of the sign language movements, and we're going to use a Raspberry Pi as our microcontroller to be able to control each of the joints.
In the next maybe 2 weeks, we're going to be coding the algorithms and programs, and then I feel like most of the hardware on the outside is near the end, toward the 4th week maybe, where we put it all together.
So we did a lot of this stuff without the hand. So we set up Vosk on a Raspberry Pi so we can speak into the microphone, and then it outputs text into the terminal now. And we just finished setting up a switch case statement. So what that means is that it will take the sentence that we say and it will dissect it into separate letters. So then what we're going to do next is we're going to make the actual functions that move the hand, and then the hand will move as each letter is being looked at.
I'm currently also working on a platform that will connect to a servo that has enough space for 2 other servo motors to sit on top, allowing the wrist to have 3 types of movement, like this, and then this. I got started on some CAD models. First, an extension of the actual case that the Raspberry Pi is going to sit in.
We also got our Raspberry Pi to do multiprocessing so that it can both detect speech at the same time as move servos or dissect each word into letters. So yeah, we got that working, and now it's just a waiting game for the products to arrive so we can actually get the mechanics to move. We got a hand working, so this is the hand we got. It's under like a sort of glove thing to make it look a little more real, but it's controlled by 5 servos, soon to be 8, but for now we're controlling it with 5 servos, and we've been able to sign a prototype of what the alphabet would be, excluding letters like J and C, where we need the extra 3 axes that would physically move the hand up and down, side to side. And so it might be red when it's not ready for you to speak into it, and then turn green when you're ready to speak into it, for example.
So we started on a GUI. The basics is that we have a 3D model of a hand playing each letter in sign language, in which I coded it in my computer, then we coded it into Raspberry Pi. You'll see it right here.
The box, when I made the wrist and I started developing the outer shell of it to cover all of this, it was way too big and the bottom box was way too small, so I had to fix that again for a 3rd time. It was really fun testing it with it, especially the microphone.
So this past week, pretty much, we've made some progress on organizing the cables so it looks nice to the outside eye, while also making it not too hard to assemble or take apart.
Another thing that we were working on is preparing for demo days. So there's a lot of different components that we have started to do, such as preparing our presentation, making sure that we have comments on all our GitHub code files.
Oh, I don't get to get about that. As we were working, so as you, I forgot if we mentioned it, but there was a glove on top of the hand, and as we were taking it off, put a lot of stress on one of the joints of the index finger. Got caught and it snapped. But here's the new box. A tunnel in the back for wires, a hole for it to come out of. In back there will be a light.
So you only need to plug our prototype into one outlet, because originally you needed two outlets, one for the Raspberry Pi itself and one for directly controlling the servos. So we want to combine that power to both the Raspberry Pi and to the servos into only one plug, just for convenience. So we got that to work. Unfortunately, we don't have a power supply or like a single one that is strong enough of handling both the servos and the Raspberry Pi with the GUI running. So I think we're gonna stick to two outlets for now and two power supplies, but I guess we'll kind of see what happens. I know we're trying to make the GUI work a little more efficiently, so we'll see if that works.
Definitely stressful. There's a lot of components that need to be ready and in a condition that we can present by that day. It definitely is a large amount of people, so we are putting in our best work and making sure that all our documents and presentations are the highest quality that they can be.
This is the final case. It's taller. It took, I think, 36 hours to 3D print. There's a little slot for the Raspberry Pi in the back, and a tunnel for the power connection to the light, which had a hole drilled in. There's also a hole drilled in for the power supply and for the wires of the servos in the hand. There's also power supply holes that we drilled in the side of it.
You can see that right now, it's actually only using one power source. This plug's just for the microphone, as Yenni said, but this is our only power source, and it plugs in right up here. It actually goes through this plug and splits into two, which one goes to the servo controller and the other two wires go to this USB-C, and this USB-C can be taken out and replaced with its own power supply. And the reason we have this is so that when you need the GUI that Sakib will probably talk about later, it needs more power to run, so you'll have to have two separate power supplies. But if you're like on the go or something and you only have one plug available, you can only use one power supply. New hand. Finger was replaced.
I think we
Do you want to?
Sure. I can talk a little bit about the wrist. So we decided to do 2 degrees of freedom instead of 3. Our original plan was to have the hand be able to rotate this way, but we decided the only reason we wanted that feature was so it could wave at people, and that's not really something that's much needed when signing. So we decided to simplify it and just make it a little less heavy up top, because we had 3 servos just stacked on top of each other to rotate. Hello world.
There's a sentence out there. It was originally used to test typewriters. It's on.
Oh.
It was originally used to test typewriters because in the sentence every letter is used once. This one. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Whoa.
That little like squiggly thing with
Yeah.
that was the Z.
Yeah.
It has J.
We worked well together. We had so many different skills that we really excelled in, so combining them together really allowed us to kind of fuse our passions and make something that represents a little bit of every one of us.
Thank you.
Okay. Good job, guys.
Notice the communication barrier. This is what SignScribe hopes to solve. SignScribe is a robotic hand which can process live speech and output the equivalent finger spelling in American Sign Language. Our solution is a robotic hand which can translate speech real-time into sign language movements. It acts as a portable sign language interpreter with a setup that is simple and straightforward, taking under 2 minutes to get started, and it can act as a learning tool for ASL since the hand is realistic and modeled off of the human hand to replicate. Our technology uses an open source speech recognition kit called Vosk. Vosk takes in speech and translates it into text. Our program then breaks apart that text into individual letters, and we use a Raspberry Pi single board computer to move 5 servos in the fingers and 2 in the wrist to be able to assemble the letters in ASL. SignScribe is also designed to be used in public meetings and gatherings such as courtrooms, schools as a learning tool, political speeches, business meetings, conferences, news streaming, and so much more. Those hard of hearing can bring this tool with them to all of these events and get a personalized transcription just for them. Our validation data says that over 75% of respondents says that our solution is effective and needed, along with it being simple to use and understand. On our follow-up question, over 60% of respondents said that they're now interested in learning ASL and that they would use SignScribe as a tool when learning. So far, we have built a working model of our robotic hand and have programmed our graphical user interface. Next, we want to modernize our hand case, improve the accuracy of our speech recognition model, and add more customization features to our configuration file to better tailor SignScribe to fit its future users' needs. Thank you, CPSE staff, and thank you, Demo Day visitors, for coming to share this day with us. We're always looking for another helping hand. We need your mentorship and your ideas to further our product and make it even better. If you're interested in the future of SignScribe, grab a business card. Thank you.
Thank you, SignScribe.
We're proud to announce tonight that SignScribe is the winner.
At this time, SignScribe, please rise, thunderous applause, and clap your hands.